Hey everyone, the Germaniac back again, bringing you another article by Spiegel International. Now, today we have Hamas in Germany. The arrest suggests terrorist organization is operating in Europe. Germany used to be considered a safe haven for Hamas, a place where the terror organization could raise money and build networks. Now, with the arrest of suspected members, fears are growing that Hamas could be planning attacks in Europe. Abdelhamid, butchering the name probably, Mohammed B. and Ibrahim al-R had been the sights of security authorities since last summer, well before the Hamas attack on Israel. On Thursday, investigators in Berlin finally made their move and arrested the three men. Officials conducted further arrests in Rotterdam. The suspected Hamas fighters had apparently been planning to retrieve weapons from a hidden underground depot and keep them ready for attacks on Jewish institutions in Europe. The suspected terror plan, now foiled, appears to represent a possible change in strategy. For Hamas members, Germany had generally been viewed as a safe haven and as a country where it could collect funds for acts of terror against Israel. But planned to attack here, there was nothing to suggest that in recent years. Now, obviously, the game plan has changed for Palestinians wanting to fight against the Israeli state. Now, when it comes to Israel versus Hamas or Israel versus Palestine, it is a super complex topic. It's why it hasn't been solved in years. Israel has been getting more international footing with with Middle Eastern countries, particularly with the Abraham Accords. The deal essentially ratifying Israel as like a proper Middle Eastern country with the U.S., the Saudis, and essentially time was running out for Palestine. That's why I think, in my opinion, that's why Hamas did commit such a large attack. It was because they wanted to enrage the Middle East, the Muslims of the Middle East, and the Muslims within the world to try and stand against Israel and essentially poison this deal. Now, we see when you bring in a lot of people from the Middle East, you are more susceptible to, well, global politics, especially because the Middle East is so turbulent. We see in the New Colon district, funnily enough, where my great grandfather was from. I think they lived there around the 20s or maybe, the 10s, 1910s. And they were essentially, well, a lot of them seemed to be essentially celebrating. There was also a lot of rioting going on in that district as well. So it seems that yeah, we have let in a lot of people from the Middle East. They do have an axe to grind with Israel, and so it has caused our countries to become more, well, turbulent because of this. Another example is, well, where the article goes on, it says it has always been clear that the terrorism organization network extended into Germany, and that's according to the German security authorities. One person who played a central role was Majed Al-Zir, 61. Azir is said to have portrayed the attack on Israel on Facebook as an act of Palestinian self-defense. Years ago, at the unofficial founding ceremony of suspected Hamas Support Association, he is said to have stated, according to eternal official documents, that Berlin bears a great burden in the struggle for Palestine. Al-Zir is officially registered as a resident in the southeast of Berlin, in the more middle-class part of the New Cologne district. His name is also in the mailbox where he's registered. So this New Cologne was when, well, my family lived there, was no, apparently like a total shithole. But now it's more Turkish, more, well, Middle Eastern, I'll say. For years, there had been little interest in suspect Hamas representative in Germany and the supporters of the organization, which has been on the European Union's list of terrorist organizations since 2001. But then Hamas commandos massacred around 1,200 people in southern Israel in October. And like we see here, in Berlin's New Cologne district, anti-Israeli activists even handed out baklava to celebrate the slaughter on the night of the attack. Now, it further says reporting by Spiegel has determined that there is a full network of supporters in Germany, not only found in Berlin but in smaller towns. And it gives you an example, just that Hamas supporters essentially aren't just these radicals Some are even, respected community members like doctors. It says here the police also conducted a raid on a doctor in Ebsland who doesn't seem to fit the cliche. On the website of a doctor's office, patient praised the wonderful and very empathetic doctor. One photo shows a man in a white coat smiling at the camera. Authorities are investigating suspicions the doctor could be a supporter. The doctor had earlier served as the chair of the Palestinian community in Germany. Now, this is the real important part. What even is Hamas at this point? The list of Jews I think were killed, I don't know, I think it extended beyond 1,200. But at this point, Israel has had nearly 20 times the amount of payback in terms of trying to get rid of Hamas. And what is Hamas? I mean, the justification for the killing of the children, I think about 8,000 of them so far, has been said that they're being used as human shields. Well, if I was a cop and I were to shoot, a civilian because the civilian was getting used as a human shield, I killed the civilian and the, let's say, bank robber, I'm pretty sure I'm still going to get reprimanded pretty fucking bad because of that. You can't just do that. So, the justifications at this point is that, well, they're allowed to basically just essentially glass Gaza or because, well, Hamas is everywhere and who knows. But that is really the question. Because you are committing such great, essentially at this point, I would say terror acts against the Palestinian people, you are causing more people to become more sympathetic to Hamas. You're creating supporters even overseas. I think it was the three people reporting on the death tolls were were all killed in Gaza. And not only that, but I think it's been over 110 UN workers who have been killed there too. So how good could these Israeli warnings, they saying they're giving warnings, dropping pamphlets, but how good could they actually be? 110, over 110 UN workers killed? And how many children? It just seems ridiculous. The children also Hamas supporters? It honestly is a bit ridiculous. But this is my idea. My idea is, what are we going to do with the Gazans when they no longer have a home? Is Israel just going to completely flatten it and then say, hey, look, everybody else, what doesn't everybody else just take them? Well, if that were to happen, one, I wouldn't want to happen because I don't want any more immigrants in Germany, to be honest, or refugees. I think we've already taken our fair few. But if this were to happen, well, then you put the Jews of Europe into a very precarious position as well. They are then up for attacks by people who now have a blood feud because their children were potentially killed in Gaza. I could totally understand if terrorist attacks increased specifically towards Jews because we've now taken in Palestinian refugees who are from Gaza. Now, this also relates to just bringing people in general. You bring in people, you bring in their problems, and we can see this at an international scale. But at this point, you can't really stop Israel. The U.S. can't seem to even tie them down. I mean, if the U.S. can't tell Israel to stop, then who the fuck can? No one can at this point. And it's not like, people say that if Israel were to back off, Israel would get destroyed. I mean, this country does have nukes. It's not confirmed, but it's kind of like an open secret. They do have nuclear technology. They have nukes. So it's like these guys with nukes, it's one of the most advanced militaries on the planet, combined with one of the most sophisticated spy networks on the planet as well, isn't going to be beaten by some guys with paragliders. So, in my opinion, I say, as a German, my ideal would be that Israel just backs off, they get pushed back, and things cool down. It's not my responsibility or Germany's responsibility to figure out this Israel Palestine problem. But something I do know is that, I don't think we can take any more people. It doesn't, well, it doesn't sit right it wouldn't be in the interest of even European German Jews to take in these refugees. But you know that if they do get displaced, that it would be the Germans and it would be the Europeans who have to take them in. And they are most definitely going to have an axe to grind with Jews in general, which at this point I would say is actually pretty understandable. But anyway, if you liked the video, give it a like, share, comment, tell me what you think. And yeah, until the next one. Thanks.